Yes, everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor, and we are back here with your Liverpool preview. Not with Brownie this week, unfortunately. So this is a bit weird for me doing a preview without the big Dave Brown, but it is just myself today. Work commitments sometimes get in the way. So I'm here with your Liverpool preview today. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. I hope you've had a haircut. I hope you've had a beer. I hope if you're underage, you've had a soda outside in a pub. I hope you've just done all the things that we've not been able to do for so long. You've had a coffee outside at Nero, maybe. Who knows what you've done, but the possibilities are endless to an extent. As I say, I hope you're all doing well. Leeds United take on Liverpool on Monday night, which is an exciting game for all of us, isn't it? It's what we wanted to get to the big time for. These top four games, these massive games that Leeds United are going to be involved in. And it's been fantastic this season. What a season it has been. And just a shout out as well to the under-23s. A magnificent performance last night. I was going to do a watch along, but I featured on another channel last night, so I didn't do a watch along. But I watched the first sort of 30, 35 minutes of it. Wow, we've got some serious things coming through, haven't we? Not just, when I say things, I mean it encompasses the coaching staff, it encompasses the players, it encompasses the ideology. Leeds just looks absolutely fantastic, taking on a strong under-23s Aston Villa team with the likes of Louis Barry in there, obviously ex-Barcelona, and we're just absolutely fabulous. And this is a Premier League 2, by the way, which has got some serious teams in. You know, we've got serious Premier League teams in. So well done to the 23s. Another championship in the Leeds United locker. And it's imagine this 4 or 5 years ago. The way the club is going is magnificent, and it's great to be a part of it. John H says Wesley looked massive. He did. Wesley did. He looked absolutely ginormous. I couldn't believe how big he looked. I had my hair cut today, Connor. Good man. I've got mine on Wednesday, thank goodness. Gordon White says morning, afternoon. And guys, as well, I haven't already said it yet, but Cards Plug are the sponsor of the channel now, the new sponsor. Link is in the description below with the code 1LEADS. 20% off, not 5, 10, 15, 20. I managed to negotiate that. It was a bit of negotiating, but I got it for you guys. So check out this stuff. It's mega. Genuinely, this will not be coming off my wall. As well, we've got, I've not even said it yet, but the Raffa special, there we go. The Raffa special. I had a designer working on it for about a month to get the right design. I didn't like 3 or 4 things that they sent us, so I sent it back. And at last, the link is in the description. We've got hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, everything you need. So the Raffa special is there. Check it out. The designs are mega. Link is in the description below. So anyway, let's get on to the preview, guys. It's a massive game, isn't it, for Leeds United? A huge game against Liverpool. A Liverpool side that really, if you think about it, we showed the rest of the league the blueprint, which is amazing. At the start of the season, we went to Anfield and in stages, we took them apart. You know, we only had a 0.6, 0.8 XG, which is relatively low, but Leeds were absolutely clinical, taking all of our chances. And it was so interesting in that game for me because Marcelo Bielsa picked their weakness before anybody else knew it. And this is the pedigree of the coach, because this is a Liverpool side who have come off the back of an unbelievable season, still have the likes of Jordan Henderson fit, Virgil van Dijk, Gomez, Mane, Salah in form, Firmino in form up front. Fabinho was part of that side as well. So Leeds went up against a fully fledged, unbelievable Liverpool side who are riding a wave, riding an unbelievably high wave, and who've been on this sort of 3-year spell of dominance, really. And Leeds took them so close. We took them so close. If you remember, it was 3-3. Calvin Phillips gets the ball on the edge of the box with a free kick, and it whistles wide. Rodrigo, on his debut, comes on, gives away a stupid penalty. Liverpool win it. But if you look at that game, Yeah, they had a lot of shots, but there was only really one performer for me for Liverpool in that game, and it was Mo Salah, who was almost unplayable on the day. We had a dodgy penalty decision given against us. Robin Koch, the ball was drilled against his hand, and nowadays, if that was to happen tomorrow, let's say, that wouldn't be given as a penalty. So, Leeds were very unlucky, very unlucky. I think it was 2 penalties, and we're very unlucky to not come away with the victory. But what I was saying in terms of tactical is it was really interesting to see that we had the blueprint for Trent Alexander-Arnold, and this is what teams have continued to expose with Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's the ball over the top. Bielsa spotted that straight away, even when they were as strong as they were. So it's a massive compliment to Bielsa, a massive compliment to the staff, and it's given teams the blueprint on how to work Liverpool out. And we beat the high press, we beat their high line several times in that game. Bamford went through 2 or 3 times, and it was a really intelligent performance from Leeds United. Costa stepped up, Harrison stepped up, Click was magnificent, Phillips was unbelievable, and Leeds really stepped up to the plate in that particular game. And it's going to be really interesting to see if we do the same thing, because it's a much different Liverpool side, but it's a much different Leeds United side as well. A lot of injuries have come back for Leeds. We've got a lot of fit players. Obviously, our captain Liam Cooper is out, but Struijk, who played that game, is going to be coming in, which is going to be really good to see. I love Pascal Struijk on that left-hand side of the centre halves, and obviously we've potentially got Raffa, who's going to be, there's been lots of transfer talk about him in Liverpool, ironically, but he's going to be one of the main men. Is he going to be able to start? If he does start, I think we're going to really, really hammer them in terms of, not hammer them in terms of goals and a performance, but hammer them in terms of isolating key players because of Rafinha's qualities. If he's going to sort of interchange with Patrick Bamford, he can isolate Nat Phillips. He can obviously isolate Trent Alexander-Arnold as well, which is going to be really interesting to see if Bielsa pinpoints that again. And he can also isolate a very tired and leggy Robertson at this moment in time. So it looks very good for Leeds offensively. And we know with this Leeds United side, attack is the best form of defence. Rafinha is the main talking point coming out of Marcelo Bielsa's press conference yesterday. We figured out that he's a doubt. But we saw in the Leicester game when Leeds played Leicester away, he was a doubt for that game as well. And Rafinha played. He's also put a post on his Instagram this morning holding some boots and saying, "I'm ready." Could be lost in translation, might be a little bit of a sign. We know his fitness is, with Liam Cooper, for example. Cooper, when he's coming back, he's always fit to play straight away, isn't he? He'll have a 2-week absence, but he's always up to that standard when he comes back instantaneously. When you look at someone like Rodrigo, maybe it takes him a little bit longer. Click a little bit longer. Maybe they're out for 2 weeks, but they'll need that 3rd, 4th week to regain full fitness. Liam Cooper's very good at just slotting back in. Rafinha's very good at slotting just back in straight away as well. And that's testament to Rafinha. It really is, and how his body shapes up and the fact that he's a young man. So that's going to be really interesting to see whether or not we start him. If we don't start him, I am still confident, though. I really am, because the wingers have performed. Helder Costa was superb last week. I think his defensive display was absolutely fabulous. Jack Harrison's going to be chomping at the bit to come back. He put in some really good performances as well last time out. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I am. I mean, put it this way, I'm looking forward to this one more than the Manchester United game in a week's time. But we'll get onto that a little bit more in the next few days. But yeah, I think obviously with Nat Phillips at the back, Kabak at the back as well, it's going to be really interesting to see whether or not Patrick Bamford can isolate those players as well, get a little bit more joy, a bit of rough and tumble. Liverpool's form has turned around these last couple of weeks, but we always say this. Playing Leeds is very different. They've had 4 days rest. Leeds have had, I think it's a full week's rest now, and we're going to be chomping at the bit to get at it again. And what an unbelievable testament and what an unbelievable credit it would be to this squad if Leeds United can go out and get 4 wins on the bounce, which has not been done in 20 years. And amidst those 4 wins would be Manchester City and Liverpool. So 3 wins out of 3 for Leeds United. I do think it hinges a little bit on Raffinha because I think he's that X factor. When Liverpool are weak at the back, I think someone like Raffinha is going to be key. But I also think he's really going to want to play in this game. And if he declares himself fit to play to Bielsa and the staff, I'm sure it's going to be very difficult for Marcelo to say, no, you're not playing. But as I said, I think Costa and Harrison will be chomping at the bit. Very excited for this game, says James Fruin. Let's have a look. Joe Madigan says, I'm confident going into this. Connor going solo like the early days of the of the channel haircut. It's not a cut, mate. I've just gelled it back. That's what you have to do. Marty Swan says, Monday night against the champions would be made for fans. Shame we're not there. We will get chances. And if we take them, no silly errors. Why not? Helder Costa left back. I think he might get paid for by Adidas for that post. Yeah, 100%. White Peacock says, seeing Harrison with strapping on his knee in training videos, hope it's nothing serious. Yeah, I mean, let's hope not with Jack Harrison. I mean, I'm sure it'll be all right. Strapping on the knee can just be precaution sometimes. But it's going to be a really, really interesting game, guys. I expect absolute hell for leather. But you know, Leeds really showed the blueprint on how to play against Liverpool, and I think that'll work in our favour. Will we be more pragmatic? Are we going to be adapting like we did to that City game? I think it's really important as fans that we don't get drawn into thinking that the game's going to be similar to the Liverpool game, to the Manchester City game, because it won't. That was a completely different game. You know, 11 versus 11, that would be a completely different game in terms of Leeds attacking Man City as well. I'm not saying we wouldn't have won the game like we did, but it would have been a really different game. Leeds wouldn't have had to sit in, be a little bit more pragmatic, a little bit more dogged. You forget in that game, Leeds went zonal, which we never go zonal. It's a man-marking system. And I can't imagine for the life of me Leeds are going to do that 11v11 at home. I mean, it's going to be a very different game. We're going up against the world-class side, and that's what we cannot forget. We're going up against the world-class side. You know, this is a team who were fighting up against Real Madrid in midweek. This is a team who've just kept a clean sheet against Real Madrid at home. So they're no mugs at all. But we said the same thing for Manchester City, you know. They played Dortmund in the Champions League. They'd won 26 out of 27 games. And even when it was 11 versus 11, we had chances. I do think it's a little bit easier for Leeds against ball-orientated teams because we're able to hit them on the counter a lot more. We're able to also have the ball and high press them. And it's a bit of yin and yang. I think teams who sit deep and then hit us on the break, that's very difficult for Leeds to deal with, a la Manchester United, a la Tottenham Hotspur. But you look at someone like Liverpool, and yes, they're extremely good. I mean, you look at Mo Salah's overperforming his XG. I think Diogo Jota's overperforming his XG as well. Those two are firing, and a lot of people think they're not at this moment in time. They're not far off the top four as well. If results go their way, they could get back into the top four. So it might not be a disastrous season for Liverpool. So it's all about what Leeds turns up. And normally I do say within the first 10 minutes, you can figure out what Leeds this is. You know, are we going to turn up and are we going to sort of not be at it 100%, maybe get back into it in the second half, but maybe the half's gone. I look at a game like Everton at home where we just didn't seem to turn up. Then we got back into it in the second half. But Liverpool's going to be a really interesting one because they're slow starters, Liverpool. We've seen that at home as well at Anfield. It has been a very sort of slow start from Klopp's men. So if we can hit them fast, potentially on the counter attack, that's going to be really, really good to see because I think we can hurt them. We can expose them at the back. I think the maybe the worry for me is the system, the man marking system. When you've got players like Thiago who is very good on the ball, and like we were talking about with City before, ball orientated, but they can surpass that man marking system because they're so good on the ball. Thiago is a wonderful football player, and I think he is someone in this game who you have two arguments for really, because he could dictate the game in terms of having the ball and getting past our man marking system and forcing other players to come in and tackle him and then moving the Leeds puzzle around, or he could sort of get ran down by the fitness levels of Leeds United. You look at this Liverpool side. This Liverpool side have been involved in competition after competition after competition. They've been going for 3 or 4 years straight. We nearly ran them down at the start of the season. What's it going to be like now? You look at someone like Mane. For me, he's looking tired. Robertson looking tired. I think James Milner's going to come into this game. You know, so you look at that, and they're not reliant on a 35-year-old guy, but they kind of are to bolster that midfield. So that's going to be something that Liverpool are going to have to maybe implement in the squad. You know, a 35-year-old James Milner, he came off against Real Madrid midweek, and they looked poor. They really did. So that's where Leeds are at this moment in time. We're looking at still a world-class Liverpool side, but you're looking at a tired Liverpool side. You're looking at a Liverpool side who are having to use their their bench a lot. You know, they've had 20 different centre-back combinations this year, which is actually more than Leeds United. You know, we always talk about varying centre-back combinations and how Leeds have had to adapt. And don't get me wrong, it's on a different spectrum because we're a newly promoted team with academy graduates making their debut in the Premier League away at Anfield in the case of Pascal Struijk. But Liverpool are also having problems at the back. You know, they've had to go out and get Davies from Preston North End in the Championship, who's never kicked a Premier League ball. Kabak, who's never kicked a Premier League ball as well. Nat Phillips, who's come through the ranks, been out on loan here, there and everywhere. So it is a disjointed Liverpool side. So this is a really good chance for Leeds to put ourselves on this Liverpool side. And that's why the title of this video is, if we have Raffa, we win, because I think we'll be able to expose, I think we'll be able to isolate, and I think we'll be able to take advantage if Rafinha is directly 1v1 against either Nat Phillips, Kabak, Robertson or Trent Alexander-Arnold. You know, I think Raffa's that good. I think we all know he's that good. He can expose anyone. You know, we saw that frequently with Mendy. We saw that with Fernandinho. Fernandinho making a cynical tackle on his fellow countryman because he couldn't stand being done like he was. You know, Raffa did him 3 times on the bounce. The last time Fernandinho didn't like it. And I can see a pattern emerging with Liverpool where Raffa's doing that. So here's hoping he plays for this one. Liverpool have only have 2 open play goals at Anfield this year. Yeah, which is a really interesting point. Kieran says, what's great about Leeds is that it doesn't matter much if 1 or 2 of our players are injured. We've created a system that all the players understand. And Chris makes a really valid point there, because when you get other teams moving systems around and moving players around, it is a real problem. With Leeds, we've done it for 3 years now. You know, we've done it for 3 or 4 years. So that is just, it's daylight, isn't it? It really is. We do it all the time. Look, our captain goes out for 3 games, no problem. Pascal, you can go in. Cock, you can go in. We can move it around a little bit. We're used to it. Marcelo Bielsa hasn't had a fully fit squad since July 2018. That's when he was appointed manager of Leeds United. So he's never had a fully fit squad, so we are used to it. You know, teams around us are not used to this. You know, we look at Leicester with the amount of injuries they've had, and we look at the teams that have really struggled this season. I mean, Leicester are actually doing quite well, but they're slumping at this moment in time. But teams who've had to move things around, Sheffield United have been a key example, Burnley at the start of the season, whereas Leeds have done that for years, which is the advantage of having a small squad that are versatile, and that's embodied in someone like Stuart Dallas, isn't it? I fancy us over Liverpool more than Scum. I'd completely agree with Johnny there. That one's worrying me a little bit just for how they play. But I am much more confident. If I was to say at the start of the 3 games, you know, City, Liverpool, and them, who were going to get points off it, I would have looked at Liverpool at home. Obviously, City, it's a write-off. We're not going to get any points there, let's be honest. 26 out of 27 games won. They're the best team in Europe, probably going to win the Champions League. It's going to be a bit difficult, that one. We go there and win. And that's Leeds United, isn't it? We have the edge. We always have that edge. No one can ever be comfortable against Leeds. And that's the beautiful thing. Leeds United have the edge. You know, someone like Rafinha, there we go, the merchandise right there. Someone like Rafinha, who is special, who has given us that edge. You know, our players who, you know, we look at the start of the season, and Klopp finished the game and he went, wow. You know, he went, wow. They got 2 penalties, set pieces. They really hurt us on that day. And looking back at it, Leeds were really unlucky, and we keep saying this. But as I say, we go into every single game with an edge. I'm not saying we go in with the edge that we're going to win every single game, but an edge where teams cannot take us lightly. Klopp knows he's in for a real game. Liverpool fans know they're in for a real game on Monday night at Ellen Road. And we do wish the crowds were there, because I think the Ellen Road crowd would have roared us on to get something out of this game. And I'm fully expecting us to get something from this game. I really am. DBG, to be honest, the centre-back situation might be a blessing in disguise. Striker's played a lot more than he would otherwise have, and I think he has the potential to be a long-term option there in the Prem. I would agree with DBG there. I think Strike is elite. I think I've said it multiple times on here. His technicalities, his capabilities on the ball are magnificent. He's calm, he's composed. I think Leeds have kept 7 or 8 clean sheets out of 13, I think it is, when he's been involved. So this guy's he's a big part of our defence, and now we've got options. It's going to be really interesting to see Llorente in this game, because I don't really know if we've seen a lot of high pressures on Llorente. He's been superb, but I think we saw a little bit against Southampton, a lot of high presses. They brought a substitute on. I cannot remember his name. You guys will let me know in the comment section below. I think he was on loan from Arsenal. I think he started the game, actually, and he caused Struijk a few problems, and that was the direct running of that individual. I don't know if he's called Diallo, I can't quite remember. But he was running at Struijk a heck of a lot. And that was a little bit of a game plan, in my personal opinion, for that Southampton game. Are Liverpool going to take a similar blueprint, potentially running at Struijk with someone like Mo Salah or someone like Mane or someone like Diogo Jota? Because they will high press. When Leeds have the ball at the back, Liverpool will push forward. They play a high line, so they're able to make that high press because their entire team pushes up the field. It's risk versus reward playing that high-paced, high-pressed football, as we know. So Liverpool are going to be exposed at the back, but they are going to pressure us on the front foot in attacking transitions. They're a very, very pressy team, and they're very quick. And yes, they have injuries, but we cannot take them lightly. They're a world-class team. You know, they're the champions, aren't they? So it's going to be a really, really interesting game. Let's have a look. It was Teller, George Laycott. There we go. Max as well. Teller. Yeah, I don't know where I got Diallo from, but there you go. It was one of those where it was a very, very high press, and they really did target Llorente in that game. There were 2 or 3 pressing actions on Diego Llorente. So that'd be interesting to see whether or not he's going to be able to sort of deal with that. I think he will be, but this is going to be a real test for him, because I don't think we saw City doing that. I don't think they pressed very high, to be honest with you, in that last game. It was a bit of a different City to the first 20 minutes of the City at the game at Ellen Road. Let's have a look at what John Swinow says. Liverpool fans at work, and they are all worried we'll do them. They're not that confident anymore. Yeah, it's, as I keep saying, John, it is the edge Leeds have, and teams are worried about us now. And you know, we've got a little bit of disrespect at the start of the season, but a really important stat to roll out is that Leeds United have conceded 5 goals at home in 2021. Which is the lowest amount of goals conceded at home, which is a staggering statistic. You know, you take away that first half of the season when we were just shipping goals left, right, and centre. If the consistency of the second half of the season was implemented for the full season, wouldn't it have been brilliant? But who cares? We are where we are. But you know, I think we all like it when the goals dry up going in our goal. You know, conceding goals, because it really was a bit of a farce at the start of the season in terms of just conceding silly goals. Palace, Leicester, but these are Premier League teams, aren't they? But it's been really nice to see in 2021 that the goals have soaked up. Leeds United looks stronger at the back. And as my co-host at Leeds United Live said, Joe Donahue, it's false that Leeds are poor at the back. And now we've got a strong defence back. And it'll be really interesting to see if Marcelo Bielsa keeps playing this pragmatic way till the end of the season, because with the players he's got, it seemed to change, didn't it? That the whole ideology of Leeds playing 2-8s like Rodrigo and Click and bombing on forward consistently. Bielsa seemed to learn and figure that can't happen in the Premier League, because if that continues to happen in the Premier League, we're going to ship more and more and more and more goals. And we've definitely seen a difference in Leeds United, in my personal opinion. As I say, a more pragmatic approach. We've seen a more direct approach sometimes as well. Leeds will surpass the midfield. You look at Liam Cooper for the first goal against Manchester City, when he just bombed the ball in behind. You know, a more direct, a more pragmatic approach. Leeds United not playing through the lines as much, not having to go through the midfield, play it long, and it just shows that we can still get joy. We've still got the big man up front in Patrick Bamford, who's very good in the air, very good at occupying centre backs, and we've also got pace on the wings, and we apply a high press system. So as soon as that ball's played to the left, played to the right, over the fullbacks, Leeds United are going to have joy. And we saw that with Helder Costa when he was turning Cancelo round time and time and time again. And I think we have developed a much more pragmatic, adaptable approach against these sides. And it's great to see. But when we do get better players, in my personal opinion, next year, I do think you will see Leeds going back to where we were in terms of playing through the thirds, high pressing a lot more, playing maybe a little bit more like we did in the Championship. And that's going to be really interesting to see. But a lot of people talking about Gelhardt as well. It would be great to see him. Connor, when are you going to do watch-alongs with your family? We did do that at the start of the year. A lot of you guys Did enjoy that. But I'm a little bit different now, guys. The whole watch along things for me, I do work, but I do have options sometimes to do watch alongs, but I just find them a bit reactive. I enjoy talking and breaking down the game and making it a little bit of a more pubby atmosphere with Brownie and with you guys and just talking to you. I don't like this whole sometimes reactionary stuff, and I did do that at the start of the season and it just wasn't very comfortable. I didn't massively enjoy it, to be quite honest with you. I love breaking down the game. I love talking about Leeds United. I don't like reacting to Leeds United on camera all the time. And Brownie shares that. Brownie shares that exact same mindset with me. We're not. I used to be a little bit like that, of course, with what I was doing before. But maybe I've just in my head I've just sort of developed a little bit more in terms of I just don't really enjoy it. So that's the reason I don't do watch alongs anymore. As a little bit of a listen, there are so many great Leeds channels who do watch alongs out there. So yeah, 100% go check those out. Ilan Meslier gives me the confidence in goal as Schmeichel did at Scum. You can around the defensive line, but you got to beat Meslier. His cross handling has improved. Yeah, Meslier has been absolutely superb. Absolutely superb, I think. Recently as well, he's really developed that Arsenal game away, which consequently as well, that Arsenal game where we shipped 4 in the second half of the season was probably a real disappointment, really, because we did so well against them in the first game. But it's a bit of a reversal, isn't it? We've developed against so many teams in the second half of the season. But that Arsenal game, we sort of reverted back to conceding a fair few goals and not turning up in the first 15, 20 minutes and getting punished. The second half of the season, you haven't seen that with Leeds. But since that game, I think Meslier, he's gone to another level. He's been absolutely superb. He looked confident. He looked assured, calm, composed, and he was superb. 5 million. It's quite staggering, isn't it? It is quite staggering. Great to see Forshaw back. Great to see Forshaw back as well the other day in the 23s. We'll have to wait and see whether or not that's going to be back for a sort of a longer period. We don't know with Forshaw. It is sort. I mean, I remember him coming back beforehand, and then he got injured, and then he got injured again. So with Forshaw, you've just got to touch wood, but he brings something definitely to that midfield. It's going to be really interesting with his age. So we've got a few players around Forshaw's age now. Are we going to be keeping him on, or are we going to be moving on and really getting some top class midfielders? I would prefer the latter, if I'm honest with you, but we'll see that in the rumour mill, won't we? Guys, listen, that's going to be it from me. I've been going for 30 minutes. I didn't realise. If you wouldn't mind checking out Cards Plug, getting the discount One Leeds, getting one of these beautiful things, make sure you're part of the One Leeds community as well. The link's in the description below, as well as you can see on screen the new merchandise Raffa special. It is available in the link in the description below. You'll see all the pictures below. We've got hoodies, T-shirts, long sleeved, all that good stuff. And I wanted to give you something back because I feel sometimes you guys will support and donate, and donate money, but I don't have anything to give you in return. So I've spent a month really trying to hone this design down, and I hope you enjoy it. So if you want to support the channel and you want to get yourself something back, check out the Raffa special in the link in the description below. Guys, it's been amazing. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe, and we will be back on Monday night with your Leeds win against Liverpool, the reaction. So we'll be back on Monday night. I'm going to go with a Leeds United 3, Liverpool 2. After this video, let me know in the comment section below exactly what you guys think. Have a lovely day, and I will see you in a bit. Cheers.